Hi everyone, today I think I will talk about something slightly controversial that I didn't realize was slightly controversial when I left for the trail, which is listening to audio while hiking, but it is more contentious than I expected. Since 2004, I've been a regular podcast listener. I've listened to podcasts multiple hours every week for 12 years now, and I think that podcasts really enable you to do a lot of mundane tasks more interestingly, like riding public transit or doing routine clerical work. When I headed off to the AT, I decided to amass as large a library of audio material to listen to while on the trail as I could. So I spent some time downloading audiobooks. I used some techniques that I'll discuss shortly to get a bunch for free, and I also downloaded as many podcasts as I could and saved up past episodes to listen to on the trail. However, I was slightly surprised when I told more experienced outdoorsmen like my dad about my plan to listen to audio while in the backcountry hiking, and he said, "Why can't you just listen to the sounds of nature instead?" I understand that sentiment, but as someone who enjoys using technology as well as backpacking, I cannot always relate to it. However, there are many situations in which you encounter technology's intrusion on the trail. For instance, when you are hiking and someone comes up behind you speaking loudly on a cell phone, or if someone is using their Bluetooth speakers that they have attached to their pack and their cell phone to blast music that is so loud it can be heard long before they are seen. These are both common occurrences now on the AT, by the way. I can understand how people who are going into the wilderness to seek some kind of solitude from technology and society at large would find this off-putting. Where's the refuge from constant connection? However, as someone who always listened to podcasts and audiobooks on earbuds to avoid bothering other people, was careful to keep the volume low on my audio content in order to hear hikers and animals in the forest, and was careful to avoid noise-canceling headphones that could minimize my awareness of my surroundings, I feel that telling someone who absolutely loves audio to not listen to any kind of audio content except the sounds of the woods for 6.5 months is pretty Spartan, and I also feel that it gave me a great deal of pleasure on my hike in a way that I would not have experienced had I not had access to all of this content. So now I'm going to describe for you why it enhanced my experience so much, and then I will give you some recommendations of podcasts and books that I particularly enjoyed on my hike. Let me start by saying I by no means advocate for listening to audio content 24/7. I spent plenty of days listening to the wind and rain, silently reflecting, talking to other hikers, and whatnot. When the terrain gets really tough on the AT, audio content can be more of a hindrance than anything because it distracts from hiking that requires concentration. The first thing I really enjoyed about consuming audio content on the trail was that it was a prime opportunity for some self-education. When I began my Thru-Hike about a year ago, I was less than a year out of college, and I wanted to take some time to pursue my own interests that I hadn't had the opportunity to pursue in my studies or in my everyday life. And being on the trail, I thought that I would have the time to kind of listen to audiobooks or podcasts that were about topics that I'd never gotten to learn about before, and to kind of learn as I walked. And actually that ended up being true. I was able to pursue things that I'd never previously learned about, and I learned a great deal about history and got to listen to some great works of literature while I walked, which was really rewarding. I'm a very intellectually curious person, and this was something that was really attractive to me about the trail that I've never had the opportunity to share with you before. The second reason that I enjoyed listening to audio content on the trail was because it allowed me to keep up in some small way with what was going on in the outside world. The Appalachian Trail runs through the most populated corridor of the United States, but it's always on the outskirts. And when you're surrounded by hikers all day, it's easy to feel as if you are in a bubble. While many people like this, I like to at least know a little bit of what is going on in the outside world. So it was nice to have the opportunity to do that and engage with different aspects of culture through audio content. It was really fun to be able to listen to, if you're hearing this, it's too late, in the middle of nowhere, and to feel like I was a part of the larger culture, but also kind of outside of it. The third reason that I enjoyed listening to podcasts and audiobooks on the trail was because it helped me combat feelings of loneliness. I wasn't particularly lonely on the trail, but everyone has their moments, and when you're spending the majority of your days hiking alone, it can still be difficult at times. So I don't know whether it was because I've spent so much of my life listening to podcasts, or it was because having a smooth voice in your ear to listen to is soothing, but I always found it reassuring and comforting to have something to plug into and to be able to listen to in the hard times. Now that I've told you about the why, I think I'll tell you about the what. I am going to start with podcasts because I love them very much. My favorite type of podcast is a storytelling podcast, and I have some podcasts that I especially like for their excellent storytelling, which include Risk, The Moth, Strangers with Leah Tao, and Reply All. These are all really good programs, and there's something special about the way that people who are telling their stories affect you when you are on a deeply personal journey like this one. I also really like 99% Invisible, Criminal, Snap Judgment, Lore, and Wait, Don't Tell Me for their excellent storytelling, even though they are a little more documentary style. They are all excellent podcasts, and even though they are pretty well known, I thought I would mention them because they're very enjoyable and you'll really like them if you like high production values. In the advice podcast category, I am a big fan of Cheryl Strayed and Steve Allman's Steer Sugar Radio, which is very compassionate and comforting advice, and they have such nice voices that I find it very pleasant to listen to. I also like Dan Savage's Savage Love podcast, although that podcast is a bit of an acquired taste, so listen to it with a little caution. If you like true crime podcasts, I recommend Thin Air, Unresolved, The Trail Went Cold, True Crime Garage, and Generation Y. Those are all true crime podcasts that I find neither tasteless nor annoying, which is really a tall order for true crime. I obtained my books through the app Overdrive, and because I had recently lived in several different places, I had access to multiple libraries' online collections to draw from, so I was able to download a bunch of books for free legally. I also got a free trial of Audible while on the trail in order to listen to a specific brand new book that had just come out that I wanted to listen to, which is called Chasing the Scream by Johann Hari. It's an excellent book and one of the best that I was able to listen to on the trail. It's about the war on drugs, and I would highly recommend it. A few other books that I enjoyed on the trail include Missoula by John Krakauer, Pale Fire by Nabokov, and Americana by Adichie. I highly recommend all of these books, and there are many others that I could recommend, but I think for the sake of making this video decently short, I will cut it off there. I will say that I listen to all of my audio content on my phone, and if you are going to consider bringing a bunch of audio, I highly recommend it. You'll really get a lot out of it, I think, as I did, and it will greatly enhance your experience on the trail. But I must recommend that you bring an external battery in order to power your phone up at night, or you won't be able to continue listening. So make sure that you get a good external battery. There are some that are on Amazon called Anchor batteries, and find one that's really powerful. and charge it at night so that you'll be able to listen to it every day. When you're not using your phone and you're listening to something, always put it in airplane mode as well, which will help you conserve battery while you're hiking. As a side note, I am currently looking for a backpacking destination in the interior western region of the United States, reasonably near Colorado, that will be tolerably cool in August and isn't extremely high in elevation. So if you have any suggestions, I would love to hear them. Please comment down below, and thank you for watching.